not saying she's Dark Triad, but I'm not saying she's Dark Triad. Hi, I'm Maggie. I'm a licensed clinical psychotherapist. I have degrees in psychology, theology, and marriage and family therapy, and a national certification in dialectical behavioral therapy. In this video, I'm not seeking to diagnose anyone. I'm only willing to offer insight into situations like these. Now, before we dive too deep into this person, I want to give you the background on some concepts. I want you to keep these concepts in mind while we look at this person of interest. So, mostly what we're going to talk about today is the Dark Triad personality. This is a theory by Delroy Paulus and Kevin Williams that they came up with in 2002. This is a mix of subclinical narcissism, psychopathy, or another way to say that is antisocial traits, again subclinical, meaning below being able to be diagnosed but still there, and Machiavellianism. People with this Dark Triad personality appear to be high-achieving, charming, conscientious. But people who are Dark Triad are high in their willingness to exploit anyone to get ahead while experiencing little remorse in the harm they cause others. The first section of this kind of triangle are narcissistic traits, which is being self-important, grandiose. It's from the Greek mythos of Narcissus, who fell in love with his own reflection. Narcissism refers to being selfish, arrogant, lacking empathy, boastful, and sensitive to criticism and insults. They seem entitled and superior, but all of this is to mask a sense of inadequacy. The second part of the Dark Triad are antisocial traits. They're callous, remorseless, cold. It's also called psychopathy, meaning they're deficient in emotional responses, lack empathy, have poor behavioral controls. It leads to social deviance and violating the rights of others. The third side to the Dark Triad is Machiavellianism, which is cunningness, manipulation, with a drive to use whatever means necessary to gain power. These people are ruthless and domineering, with a generally cynical view of the world. It's named after Niccolo Machiavelli, a 16th century politician and diplomat from Italy. Some warning signs to look for the Dark Triad personality are being self-centered, feeling grandiose about themselves, exploiting other people, manipulating, lacking remorse, being ruthless, being influential, and being opportunistic. So who's our person of interest today? Princella the Queenmaker. She says on her website that her name is Princella Carr, but her name is Princella Clark. What she says about herself is, I am a street philosopher, a former officer of the United States Army, a business observer, an author, and a life coach who has taken an analytical approach in tackling many of the world's most complex ideals by simplifying them into terms that are much more digestible for the average person to adapt to their life. I don't know about you, but I'm already hearing some problematic things. The fact that she has to simplify concepts just so the average person can understand, it's giving me some pause. Let's keep going. She says, the term jack of all trades and a master of none screams a lack of effectiveness. However, when it comes to being a student and teacher of life, it becomes very necessary to be well-versed in a variety of topics. It allows the ability to effectively see the patterns that exist in life and all realities, as well as connect the dots of life to clarity of the big picture. Anybody else sniffing up some grandiosity here? She knows all things about reality of all things. She goes on to say, although my primary focus and study is psychology and human behavior, I have adapted wisdom from my vast background. I attended Louisiana State University in Shreveport studying cell and molecular biology. I've obtained a project management professional certification and leadership certification from the Army Logistics University. I've studied music, digital animation, photography, and history, and have excelled in the sales industry, ranking top amongst my peers in the automotive and direct sales industries. All of these areas aid in creating my philosophical points of view that have helped so many in my personal life coaching journey. I'm never going to have anything negative to say about autodidacts. In fact, if you have degrees, you should continue to study and learn. However, she took a long way around of saying that she studied biology and she has some experiences, but she doesn't have a degree in biology. She has a project management certification through the military, and she was a really good salesman, and that somehow gives her the ability to focus on psychology and human behavior. Now for me, based on her own words off of her website, we've definitely hit on some narcissistic traits. This self-importance, this being arrogant, boastful, and entitled. So does she have antisocial traits? That would be the next thing to look for. Things where it's remorseless, callous, cold, and violating the rights of others.
Power, because men are ego-driven, power-driven, sex-driven, period. So if the male is about power, he has to keep you out of the know. He has to keep you guessing in order to maintain power. So one thing I teach women how to do is listen and observe, to hear because the male, contrary to what they believe, the male will tell you straight up to your face exactly who he is. Indirectly. He may lie to you to your face, but indirectly he tells you the truth all the time. And the male is confident in telling women the truth because they believe that women will never hear them. They believe that women will continue to lie to themselves and try to get the male to be something that he's not. Well, I'm not talking about what's right or wrong. I'm talking about what's desirable or least desirable, right? Because that's really what it is. So since women are having relationships with men or wanting relationships with men, the question is a man using a woman the most desirable outcome for women?
The callousness and ruthlessness does not stop there, and men are the intended victim here.
I have people up in arms, all the way up in arms, because I make a bold claim that I stand on 100%. And this claim is men are incapable of love. That's right, I said they are not capable of love.
It gets worse.
Maybe he could spend a night, but most of the time he need to be out doing something.
So what are men good for in your work?
Y'all really want me to answer that?
No, I really want your answer because, we're going through this and I'm like...
I don't want to bruise y'all ego, but the male was created to be a slave.
Well, we definitely have lack of empathy, social deviance, and violating others. So, what about the Machiavellianism? To determine that, we're going to watch an entire video that she puts out, where she answers the question about if all women should be lesbians. When you watch this video, apply all sides of the Dark Triad and see what you get.
All right, y'all gonna want to sit in for this one. So reality is really hitting a lot of these women hard in the gut, and they don't know what to do. And so they always ask me this question right here. I have a question though. What are we supposed to be? Lesbians? What is next after this? No, I'm not delusional. So here's my project management book. For those of you who do not know, yes, I got my project management certification. But anywho, I would like to let you know that dating an XY is a project that I think you need to know how to manage. When managing the project of the XY, I think you need to really take into account project risk assessment. XY project risk management. Let's identify the risks, shall we?
Every single day, it becomes harder and harder for me to have male friends. It's basic fucking hygiene. Matter of fact, let me take you to fucking school. called the bulbourethral gland. This little guy right here, that secretes something we informally know as pre-cum. The purpose of the bulbourethral gland is to help flush out whatever's left in the urethra before the penis ejaculates. So humans have evolved to have something like the bulbourethral gland because the penis is not a very clean organ. I think it's safe to assume that you don't stimulate your bulbourethral glands every time you go pee. Like, you're not jerking off every time you need to take a piss. But every time you do take a piss and don't wipe, you're letting all of that urine build up inside of your pants.
Couldn't eat anymore. It's a male hygiene problem or issue called gooch grease. I was like, what the hell is that? And after Googling it, I was bothered. It's described as a culmination of lint, sweat, and dried up pieces of feces between a man's butt and balls. First of all, who are these men?
Have you ever been on a date with a guy or have been dating a guy for a while and you go down on him and you come up with a really bad taste in your mouth? Well, if the title of this video didn't give it away, he probably has dick cheese. And that's why this week we're at dick cheese happens to guys who are uncircumcised. So there's cut and there's uncut. Guys who are uncut, their parents left them their foreskin. That was very nice of them. Now, what happens is, it's a sex toy, but we'll just pretend it's a penis for now. This is the shaft of the penis, this is the head. Guys who are uncut have foreskin that covers this part of the penis. Underneath the foreskin are glands. These glands, they release oily, lubricating substances. Think like olive oil or lube. And what that does is it helps guys pull their foreskin back over their head of their penis. Now, over time, because normally the foreskin is closed, it traps this secretions underneath and it combines with dead skin cells, pre-cum, dried up semen, and all of this together forms dick cheese.
Between the female brain and the male brain, is there a bit
massive
really
difference?
Okay.
I published a study on 46,000 scans looking at male brains versus female brains, and it's like we're not even the same species.
Right.
It's their brains are so much busier than male brains, and generally they're healthier because they have more estrogen and they don't do quite the toxic things that male brains do.
Oh, they don't do quite the toxic things that male brains do, huh? But let's continue on.
Just my nigga. Fuck all that. I'm helping you, all the niggas out there. Don't you ever wear white drawers again. Throw them all away today. Alright? Throw them all away. Like, I got on black drawers. Like, you know what I'm saying? Whether my dick's little or not, I don't give a fuck how big your dick is. A lot of doodle streaks in your drawers will create unattractiveness for you and your future. Clean your ass over and over and over. It still doesn't stop streaks from happening in white jaws. I'm just keeping it real. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know how them streaks got there. What I do know is that in order to eliminate that kind of like unfly shit for niggas, because y'all niggas and we gotta protect ourselves, nigga, throw your white drawers away if you got your girls and girls washing your drawers. You gotta throw them away right away,
Like I said.
How many men do you think are actually on that type of time? Like, if nobody would know, or if it wouldn't get out?
I'm gonna say good question about that. I would give it at least 80%.
80%.
Woo, baby, let me tell you something. That ain't the first time, and it ain't the second time that I have heard a gay male. This is a trans. This first time I'm listening to trans fully, but it be mostly gay males. This ain't the first time they didn't threw out 80%. One of them told me, he said, hell, he told me because when I met him out there in Dallas, He was like, he was telling me while he was checking me out at the register that he had a white boyfriend. He said he don't even date black males. The gay black man had a white boyfriend, showed me his boyfriend, everything. He said, I don't even fuck with black men. He say shit. Most 95% of them gay. 95% of them undercover. And then the way they treat, he's like, the way they treat black women, they ain't shit. This coming. this come. So here's the thing. HIV.gov. In 2021, there were 32,100 estimated new HIV infections in the U.S. MSM, men who have sex with men, which includes gay, bisexual, straight, all identifying people who have sex with men are accounted for in men who have sex with men. Anyway, MSM accounted for 70%. 22,400 of the 32,100 estimated new HIV infections in 2021, and 86% of estimated infections among all males in 2021 as compared to 2017. People who acquired HIV through heterosexual contact accounted for 22%, which is 7,100 of the 32,100 estimated new HIV infections in 2021. Men reporting heterosexual contact accounted for 6%, which was 2,000 of the estimated new HIV infections, while women reporting heterosexual contact accounted for 16%, 5,100 new infections. So men who have sex with men accounted for 86% of the infections. But men who reported heterosexual contact only accounted for 6%, while women accounted for 16%. This is interesting. Female-to-female sexual transmission of HIV. The risk of female-to-female sexual transmission is extremely rare, with only a handful of reported cases. HIV-positive women who identify as lesbian may have acquired HIV through injecting drug use or sex with men. Transmission is possible through sharing of sex toys and exposure to blood during sex. So it's no wonder why heterosexual contact for males accounted for 6% of HIV transmissions, but women accounted for 16% because of course, we have the 41 Shades of Men. Just a few of the men that are in this book: hobosexual, lonely man, destitute man, virility validation man, tax season man, high value trick the family man, emotionally immature man, sex deprived man, jailbird, fellatio, down low, STD man, and the list goes on. The list goes on. You want to be able to do your analysis of these lists, qualitative and quantitative, and then you want to plan your risk response. The question is it worth it, honey? There's a reason this was called Beauty and the Beast. Now, sweetheart, I'm not telling you that you gotta be lesbian. No, I'm not gonna tell you that. But I am gonna say that if you are a heterosexual, in the great singing voice of Michael Jackson, you can't win. Hey, baby, don't shoot the messenger.
So she's not telling you to be a lesbian. That men are dirty, full of STIs, and you can't win. Sure sounds like she's telling you to be a lesbian. Now, why is it important to see a dark triad for who they really are? Unfortunately, living in this capitalistic society, research shows the dark triad personality benefits companies, mostly in the form of revenue and growth, which, remember, she said she was top in sales. However, in the realm of personal lives, and especially in the idea of relationship and connection, the dark triad leaves a wake of victims in pain, confusion, but armed with the falsehoods and manipulation tactics to harm others, i.e. brainwashed. Having and espousing beliefs that are extreme and dangerous, especially with a leader who is manipulative, callous, and team building, is nothing more than a cult. Cults are well known for their authoritarian leaders who advocate extremist ideology and use of coercion to exploit members. Cult leaders are dynamic, charismatic, and convincing because their goal is to brainwash their members and acquire some sort of power-related advantage. I'm definitely not the only woman who sees this, but I'm really concerned for young ladies or vulnerable women who could easily fall prey to this ideology.
The queen maker or whatever, most times she be talking like sense, right? She be talking sense or whatever. She give me, you know what I'm saying, woke vibes, whatever it is, and she speaks logically, da-da-da-da. But lately, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, can somebody explain her behavior as of late? Because I thought, like, when she was, like, putting on, particularly, I guess, black women on, like, male behavior, it was for the betterment of, I don't know, black women and their plight of, you know what I'm saying, to be better, or whatever she got going on. But lately, it's been given like, I don't know, she's like giving like cult-like behavior.
All right, guys, what do we think? Does this person of interest exhibit the signs of the Dark Triad personality? Let me know your comments below. Or tell me your stories about surviving a Dark Triad personality. As always, like the content, share where you think it's appropriate, and subscribe. It's free. Thanks, guys.